Good evening and welcome to Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with science advisor Matt Moniz. Psychic medium Stephanie Burke is out tonight. She is under the weather. She's not feeling well, and we said, hey, don't bring it here. I don't think she's been to China lately, though, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Although I did have Chinese food the other night, but...
We also have all these airports she's running through.
That's true. I wonder if we should ask her if she's one of those people that wear the mask when they go through the airport.
I don't think she uses a mask, but she definitely is a Purell person.
The masks don't help you.
No.
Like that's the mistake that people make when they put those masks on is that it's going to keep you from getting sick from somebody else. The mask is designed so that if you're sick, you don't infect other people.
Correct.
So when you're walking around with a mask on and being like, oh, I'm safe, I'm not going to get sick. You're first of all, you're probably going to get sick. And second of all, you're just making yourself look stupid. So we'll get angry phone calls now from people that tell us we don't know what we're talking about.
You are correct.
I know, but they'll still call and tell us we don't know what we're talking about anyway. Okay, welcome to the world of the internet.
30 years working in, pharmacy. But okay.
Do you have a Facebook degree?
Apparently not.
I know that you've studied at multiple different schools, including Harvard.
Yep.
But if you don't have that Facebook degree, you don't know what you're talking about.
Apparently not.
So until I see some Facebook credentials, sir, you just mind your business. This is, believe it or not, we do talk about the paranormal here each and every Saturday night. And tonight we will be talking with some pretty interesting guests. We had them on about 6-7 months ago. Corey and Jen Heinzen bought the Conjuring House in Harrisville, Rhode Island. And they are now opening it up to the public. And so we're going to talk with them about that, about this transition, about what that means. And we'll find out how people can get in there if they want to get in there and check it out for themselves. We still haven't been, but we'll make it a point to try to get over there at some point. Also, we have some special guests with us in the studio. We have Julie and Kara, who are local content creators. And they've started a new show. So tell us, ladies, about this program that you started and how people can check it out and what it's called and all that stuff.
Okay, well, you can check us out on VGTV. On Instagram. It's VGTV. We like to get community creators to interview. So that's where, find us, VGTV. So,
I'm not that great with Instagram. Don't tell my bosses here that I'm in charge of the social media. But the Instagram is kind of one of those things that it's become the new social media place. That, years ago it was Facebook. Before that, MySpace, all that. Yeah, but Instagram seems to be the place that everybody's going now to consume content, which is weird to me because it's, in my eyes, it's the hardest place to consume content because they don't allow hyperlinks in the posts, and basically you're just looking at a photo or a video, and you don't really, people don't always go in there and get all the description. How does it work with the Instagram TV? How do you get that out there and get the word out there about it?
We kind of have this theory because we know ourselves to be not very focused adults, and we don't have attention spans for more than a couple minutes at a time.
That's true.
So we like Instagram for that, where you can, on Instagram TV, you can film something for, I think it's up to 12 minutes or something like that. But if you don't want to watch it for that long, it shows up in a preview. So you can just kind of, if you're scrolling and you really just don't have the time to wait more than a minute, you can see the preview, which that's, we're just preying on people like ourselves who have no attention span whatsoever and try to say as much funny things as we can.
Do you guys edit the preview, or does Instagram edit it, shorten it for you?
We have the ability to
I'm just going to ask you to just pull a little closer to the mic.
We have the ability to edit. However, we're very new to this, so we've had a lot of mishaps.
Okay.
So we didn't understand how to edit the thumbnail.
Listen, technical problems can be very endearing to the audience.
We've had some funny ones.
Here we are 14 years into doing this show, and we still have technical problems every week. So, and people stick with us. So it's, you don't have to shy away from having the, just admit it. That's the key. Just say, yep, totally our fault. We boned that one. And then people will kind of appreciate it. But I also think too, that with as we get into these different types of social media and everybody kind of adds in their own verse. So, this IGTV, it's basically like trying to steal away some of the Facebook Live action that people were getting. And it's, even though they're owned by the same people, but still, like, it's trying to, like, kind of filter that. So what we're seeing is, in real time, we're seeing these social media companies figuring out what works the best and kind of utilizing us as the guinea pigs for that. So you're creating this content for them while they figure out the best way to feed it all out and everything. And I think eventually it's going to get to the point where the content creators will start to dictate to the platforms like what they need to keep doing this. Because if you get a show that takes off and does very well, well, now you can start telling Instagram what you think works the best. And I know that, The Rock was somebody that was complaining about some of the things that were going on with the video. Like, he was complaining he couldn't do longer videos. So next thing you know, Instagram lengthens the video time. So it's interesting that the content creators can kind of dictate what the platforms will do.
Yeah, I think we're probably only a few months away from that ourselves, where they start listening to us.
You're at the Rock level?
Yeah,
we're at the Rock level. And, we do have a lot of Facebook followers, so it'd be interesting to see.
20.
Yeah. Or likes. We have something. We have something out there.
Likes. A couple people have liked our posts.
But it will be interesting to see kind of if that transitions and what it looks like in the future.
Yep. We just have to keep putting out. That's what we say.
That's right. We just keep putting out.
We keep putting out.
Yeah.
That would get you viewers.
Right?
I think that's why we get mostly men.
Because we did, they do give you the insights. So you see,
the
demographic is like a 13 to 18-year-old boy.
But that was in Maine, right? Specifically in Maine. And then men between the ages of 45 and 65 in general. Yeah.
So just we're getting a lot of comments on Spooky TV at SpookySouthCoast.com and on YouTube about the microphones. The two microphones that the guests are on are very bad. So it's not your fault. I just jacked everything up all the way. So hopefully that'll help a little bit. We're getting all of this, and I feel like I've been saying this now for 4 years, but we're getting all of this stuff here redone. And then when that's redone, there'll be all new equipment in here, so it'll be a lot easier for us to do that. But I did.
So does that mean they're donating that board to the Smithsonian?
This one, I think.
Well, it was made in the 70s.
Did you ever
at
see
least.
the movie Office Space?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When they finally get rid of the what was it, the printer or the server or
Fax
whatever
machine. Oh, yeah.
And they bring it, and they bring it out to the back, out into the field, and they just start. So I already have "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster" all queued up, so that when they replace this thing, we can go out back with it. And just the only thing is I'm not that good of a content creator for Instagram or anything, so I don't know how to do the slow motion videos. So I told everybody that when we do it, you just have to bash it like slowly, so it looks like it's slow motion. That's the way that we'll do it to get it going. And basically, you guys came here tonight to talk with me for your show.
Yeah.
And so, thank you for the opportunity to share, and you're welcome for all the earth-shattering records that you'll get from people that watch that. Everybody that's in this chat room right now, you better go and watch it. But the good thing is it's giving people an opportunity to create. I go back to cable access. Cable access was something that at the forefront, and with the idea behind it, and some cable systems took advantage of it, you have this opportunity to let people who are creative and have an interest in this be able to create things for themselves. And then it turned into every cable company, every cable system in the world, every local community access channel just getting 2 chairs, 2 plants, and a curtain.
Yep.
So it didn't really pan out the way that people might have intended it to do. But with this, everything is in your hands. So you get to decide what you're going to do. You get to decide how you're going to put it out. So it's really good that it's giving people that have creative ideas an outlet to be able to do it. And we're also at a point where the world is so segmented in what people are interested in that, you no longer have to look at things by, like we talked earlier when you were interviewing me, it's not about this show becoming some national syndicated success. It's about just building a loyal audience that loves it every week and wants to be part of it and gets upset if you're not there anymore. And that becomes who you're creating this content for. And I think that kind of interconnects us a lot more personally than, the old broadcast TV type structure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many people doing so many interesting things in their communities, and we use the community term quite broadly. I mean, right here in the South Coast and beyond, and we're interested in kind of highlighting what folks are doing and different interests, and we're very honored to be here tonight and to have interviewed you, and very excited to get out there with it.
Wait till you look back and review the footage. In the moment, it seems way better than it actually is.
I know, it's great. It's going to be great. So,
there's been plenty of times when I've done shows where I've gone back and been like, "Wow, that was a great show," and then I go back and listen. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" What? Came out of left field with that. We are going to be talking in a few moments with the owners of the Conjuring House, and I invite you guys to stick around and talk with them. We're going to talk to them about this new venture that they've undertaken with letting people come in to investigate, which is something that I think a lot of people, paranormal investigators have been trying to get in there for years and have been going in there. Corey and Jen have been nice enough to let them in. But I think regular everyday folks have been dying to get in there and do the same thing. Is that a place you guys would want to go to if you have the chance?
I mean, to me it is. We had talked earlier, and I think being from an old New England family where hauntings are something that are just sort of an everyday, oh yeah, Aunt so-and-so died, she's coming back, we all accept that. The ability to go, especially to a house like that with such fame and such legend and history, to me is certainly fascinating.
I think, though, that the downside is that people see this in a movie and they think that it's going to be like the movie when they go there.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's what I was just saying to Kara. Horror is my genre. I love horror movies. However, now that I'm sort of getting more interested in ghosts and paranormal, knowing that that's real is a different story. Like it's, a fantasy, or it's something that actually is real. So
I mean, the good thing though is you can. I have friends that are paranormal researchers that say, I can't watch a horror movie anymore because it seems so ridiculous to me. But I've always been able to separate the entertainment of a horror film with the actuality of an investigation. When you go on an investigation, God knows it would be the world's most boring horror movie if it was actually, it would be it'd be an 8-hour
90
long
minutes
movie.
of people sitting in the dark.
Yeah, it'd be an 8-hour long movie with 30 seconds of intense, dramatic action. It wouldn't work. And that's why, this was the thing that came out for years where people were saying, paranormal TV shows need to present what it's really like to investigate the paranormal. Like, no, because nobody would watch that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Think about the most boring television show that you've ever seen in your life that you had to sit through. Now imagine that, only now it's people sitting in the dark doing the same thing. It's not something that people would want to see. What they would want to see is the best highlights of that. And that's what these paranormal TV shows are. So let's talk with Corey and Jen Heinzen of the Conjuring House, or the house. Well, we'll let them give us all the official details of what we can call it and what we can't call it, because I don't want to invoke the ire of any film studios. Corey and Jen, do we have you on the line?
Hello.
Hold on. What? Oh, that button there. Okay, guys, are you with us?
Yeah, we're here.
There you are. Okay, we weren't getting it fed through our board here. Everything's as Stephanie would say, Mercury retrograde around here.
Yeah.
So we're doing the best we can to overcome some technical challenges. How are you guys?
Not too bad. How are you all doing?
Doing pretty well. So the big announcement came out yesterday that people are now going to be able to come to the house. And what's the official title of the house that you're allowed to use?
We're still going with the farm on Round Top Road.
Okay.
Just, to keep everybody happy, I guess.
That's
because we're really not sure what we're allowed to really call it. But
pretty sure. I mean, we still call it the Conjuring House ourselves, but I don't, as far as in writing, I don't, copyright issues.
Right.
We
and
can't do that, I guess.
And the TV shows that have come have all referred to it as the Conjuring House too. So
Yeah.
If they're not going after, Zach and Amy and Adam and all them, then they're probably going to leave you guys alone. But anyway, the important thing is, people have been wondering since you purchased the house, what, like 6-7 months ago, was it now?
Just about. purchased it back in June.
June.
So people have been wondering ever since then if they would have the chance to get in there, and now you've made this big announcement. Tell everybody exactly what you have planned.
Right now, we're open to host investigations, letting people in whenever they decide to want to come in, I guess. They can come in from 6 at night till 8 o'clock in the morning, and we basically give them a quick tour and just let them loose and let them discover it for themselves, you know.
So is it open only to people that are already investigators or teams, or can the general public, can they book a night as well?
Anybody can book it. I mean, some people consider it like an Airbnb, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had people that have come here that have just, you know, they're horror fans. They have no inclination to investigate whatsoever. So,
Yeah, they just want to stay overnight just to see what it's like, and they love it.
yep.
So do you have beds available for people to sleep if they do want to sleep?
We do have some, we have a couple beds that are extra beds, and we have some cots. We don't advertise it as because it's not an Airbnb, because we
Right.
don't advertise it like that, because we don't have everything to provide, a group of people, but we do have some bedding if people decide that they don't want to stay up all night, then it is available, but we just don't advertise it like that.
I just want to be able to take a nap. That's all I care about. You know, that's a long time, all that time. So the idea being that people can come in and conduct their own investigations, but could you have somebody available to kind of lead the investigation if you get people that come in that are newbies and don't have any experience?
Yeah, Jen and I are here all the time.
Okay.
You know, this is where we live. You know, we just have a separate room at the end of the house that's more modernized, if you will, and we actually watch everybody on the cameras and stuff like that. Does that sound creepy?
It does, but that's okay. Like, we like it to sound creepy. I'd want to know that somebody was watching. I'd be looking at the cameras being like, did you see that too?
Right.
You know? So, but that's very interesting, though, that knowing that you'll be there, I think, is a very important thing, because as we know, there's been issues in the past with that property, with people showing up and doing what they want. So, knowing that you're going to be there, I think, will make people less likely to come in there and try and, take advantage of the situation.
True. I never thought of it like that. True. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to get everybody that has, and I don't mean this any disrespect to our in-studio guests who have their own Instagram show, but I'm sure everybody that has, a YouTube show or a web show or something, they're going to want to come in there and film their own little episode in the Conjuring House. So it helps knowing that you'll be there to make sure that nobody kind of gets out of control with any of that stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now, have the bookings already started rolling in? I mean, is it getting to the point where you're starting to fill up?
Yeah, a lot of people have reached out to us through Facebook anyway. So before the website itself was up, I had a booking site that I was able to send links to. So people that were interested in it beforehand, when I was in the process of doing this, there was a few people that were able to book already. So that was nice that we got a lot of people that way, and word of mouth, people who knew people who already came, and now that the website's open, it is starting to pick up.
I would assume that there's a limit of how many people, just being, it's a house. It's not like we're in an abandoned factory or something. I assume there's a limit to how many people that can book at any given time.
Right. We haven't ruled out a maximum amount of people yet, but I can just tell by the people that have already been here, like eight is a good number. Like, you get too many people, and
anything over
depends on what
8.
you're doing, I guess. If you're just here for the experience, or you need a crowd of people with you to be able to do it, then I guess a little more than 8 would be okay. But if you're serious about investigating and you want it silent as can be to get what you can get, 8 to 10 seems like a decent number or less.
And do you have different rates for weeknights versus weekends, or?
The rate across the board it's $125 a person. It's just on Friday and Saturday night, since those are the most popular times. We have to set a set amount of
A minimum of 6.
a minimum of 6 people, or equal amount to
Yeah.
6 people.
No, that makes sense. On a Wednesday night, if you've got one person that wants to just, lock themselves into the Conjuring house, that's fine.
Right. Absolutely.
But you don't
yeah.
want to give up a Saturday night when that's the only night that some groups could actually get out there, and now
Right.
they're missing out so that one person can do it on their own. Right. No, that makes sense. And so I assume that you're utilizing some of that money that's coming in to continue. I know that there's some repairs and things that had to be made and some upgrades that you wanted to make. So this will kind of help you with that process, I assume.
Yeah, our big project for the summer is definitely going to be to get the barn cleaned out, because that's especially come springtime, summertime, a lot of people want to be out there on the barn and check
Yeah,
it out.
everybody's been asking about the barn.
That hasn't been investigated by us either, so the barn's going to be a pretty big project to clear out.
When you say cleaned out, I mean, is there like a bunch of junk in it, or does it need to be reinforced, or?
It's been overrun by bats,
Yeah.
and they do their business. So
Yeah, and it was like that when we bought the property, so we just haven't. We've had somebody come out to look at it that said they would clean it up for us. It wouldn't be a problem. We just need to be able to cover the holes so the bats don't get back in once it's clean. So.
Yeah, you got to figure out where they're coming from and how they're getting in there. Well, I know that the SK Pierce Mansion in Gardner, they had an issue with their cupola, however you pronounce it. They had an issue where that was getting infested with bats, and they couldn't let people up there because of all the bat guano that was everywhere. So maybe they can recommend the name of a good bat exterminator. But I mean. I think that's well, the only reason I asked you if it was full of junk is because I was just like, there's another show called The American Pickers. They'll come by.
Yeah, it's actually full of a lot of cool stuff. It's just we've been in it a few times. We haven't done a whole lot in there just because it really is covered.
Sure. Yeah. That's to be expected, though, when you're talking about properties that are this old. We were talking prior to Spooky South Coast coming on the air that, New England is full of these great historic properties, and it's the paranormal that's helping to keep them alive. It's the fact that they're haunted that are making people retain interest in properties where if it wasn't for the stories coming out of that place and you guys buying it, it could have been bought by somebody that would say, you know what, it's just easier to level this house and build something else on the space.
quite possibly. I mean, we never really looked at it that way, but I mean, honestly, the land, I love the house. Jen loves the house. And we would never do that. But, I mean, the land, I mean, you could put a multi-million-dollar house on this land. It's just that beautiful. So,
yeah.
That being said, I think it's definitely the land that's haunted as well. So.
Well,
either way, you'd be screwed.
Yeah, that's what they make the mistake of thinking, like, oh, rather than upgrade this property, we'll just build new.
Right, yeah.
And then, how is it that we have ghosts? This is brand new construction.
I can't even imagine doing that to this house. I would be so sad.
Yeah. Oh, I know, but not everybody has that same appreciation of history as we have. You know, there's plenty of places that we see around New England that they just say, you know, you see now the towns go around, they put the big red X on the front door.
Oh, yeah.
And basically what they're saying is that whoever buys this, you got to tear this house down. And unfortunately, you're seeing houses that are 300, sometimes 400 years old that are getting knocked down because they just say it's easier to just build a new one. So it's sad. I mean, I saw there's a great tavern here on the south coast of Massachusetts that is, you know, just being used as somebody's like storage space for his business because he bought it and he doesn't see the point in, you know, worrying about keeping a historic property. So it's
wow.
Yeah, that's how it can go. Not everybody has the love of history that I think a lot of us in the paranormal world do.
True, I never thought of it like that. That's sad.
So again, as we're talking with the owners of the what's that, the farm on Round Top Road? Is that
Conjuring house, whatever.
Yeah, but so how can people get to the website to book if they want to try and book it?
The website is theconjuringhouse.com.
Well, there you go.
I mean, we figure that's easy enough for people to you know, Google, and we got some information on there. We're still updating that site, but you know, it's for the most part, it's up and running. We're going to be able to share information, evidence, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you can book straight from the site.
So when we talked to you guys when you first purchased the house, you'd been in there a few times, and you know you'd have the chance to kind of get in and explore and investigate a little yourselves. Now we've had, you know, you've been nice enough to let a lot of different paranormal investigators come by, and there's been a couple of television shows that have come and filmed. How are you feeling about the activity in the house now, 6 months out from getting in there for the first time?
It's definitely increased. It's still, like we've always said, it's nothing bad. It's just they're making themselves known a lot more. They're presenting themselves a lot more. All the teams that have come in just rant and rave over, you know, their evidence.
Yeah.
You know, we're getting like floods of evidence reviews and stuff like that, just saying, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And it's amazing some of the stuff that they're coming up with. And like a lot of it's validating each other.
Right.
You know, it's like this, you know, people are catching the same things. So that's real cool.
And I think too that, you know, it bears mentioning again that anytime you have repeated investigation of the same location, you're building a case study. So it's not so much just about the actual activity in that location, but it's about kind of the repeatability of all this phenomena in some ways,
Right.
and you can really start to answer questions.
Kind of like science.
Almost. I still will say pseudoscience. No offense, Moniz.
All right.
But but that's the great thing about it is, you know, when we see people that have purchased like you know, the Hinsdale house, this house, the Lizzie Borden house, you know, you get to see these repeated investigations from people that are involved in it. You know, it's another thing when you own a place like I'm trying to think of it. Well, like Waverly Hills, you know, the owners of that house, they let people come in and they do everything, but
Well,
they're
it's not a house, but yeah.
I mean, the owners of that property, they let people come in and investigate, but they're not really interested in kind of building their own explanation as to what everything is that's going on there. They like to give people the opportunity to come in and use that money for renovations, but they're not trying to make this, you know, their long-term passion project, the paranormal side of it. But with places like your house, you know, this is the chance for people to come in, and you chronicling it means that at the end of all this, someday when you say, okay, we're getting too old for this, we don't want to let people keep coming into our house, we're going to shut this down, we'll have a nice case study of everything that happened over the, you know, 20 years or whatever it was that you allowed people to do that.
True.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Yep.
Plus, in addition, of course, to your own experiences as well, which we were talking earlier about living in a haunted house, and I was saying that when my aunt and uncle bought theirs, my aunt just said to the spirits, you know, I just don't want to see you, and that's kind of the contract she made with them. Did you guys make any kind of, or try to make any kind of agreement with the spirits that are in that house about, you know, what you think might be too far?
Not necessarily too far, but we did seriously, literally walk in the house and make an agreement to like coexist.
Yeah, we weren't going to make.
Respect them, and
We were going to do everything in our power to keep it, you know, keep it how it is right now, and just make minor fixes to things, but no changes or anything like that. And if we were doing something that was out of the realm of what made them happy, you know, let us know in some nice fashion. You know, nothing crazy like throw the refrigerator across the room or something.
Well, if you can get ghosts to do that, send them over to my house, because I've got enough stuff that needs to get moved around. But then you can have them back when it's done. The other side of this too, though, of course, of owning a notorious location, a place that is well known and that people have thoughts and opinions on, that a lot of times are based without any kind of fact or any kind of experience being there. I'm sure that you've had your fair share of detractors and people who have been kind of trying to be the fly in your ointment, so to speak. Have you been dealing with a lot of that?
Kind of. We try to stay away from it as much as possible. They just kind of try to stir the pot, if you will. And usually people come to our aid, you know, and the good thing about the paranormal community is, you know, we look out for each other,
Right.
you know, and, we'll stick up for each other and, call people out
Yeah.
when the time comes. And, luckily, people have been that way for us.
Yeah, we haven't had to be we're not out to give anybody a bad name, and we're not out to destroy other people either. So we really haven't had to get, I don't want to use the word nasty, but we really haven't had anyone who's really come down on us hard. We just, there are people out there that aren't going to believe it, and it's their opinion. They haven't been here, so we just kind of let it be.
They can say they've been here 4 times and nothing's happened, but
we just figure maybe the spirits don't like them.
Yeah, that drives me crazy. There's one particular guy who I won't name who, went there a couple of times and said that nothing happened when he was there. And so therefore everybody else that's ever had an experience there is making it up, including going back to the parents. Of course, right. Your 4 visits there are certainly the be-all, end-all of any paranormal activity.
It's like people I know that go fishing in a pond. So, some people can pull out, record-winning bass, and other people go there for 3 weeks in a row and get nothing. And then how can you say that there isn't fish there? Because
But what's the key when you go fishing to landing fish?
The right bait and using the right. Yeah.
And maybe this guy is just the wrong bait. Maybe when they're putting him out on the hook, the fish are saying, "No thanks." That's
we're gonna throw this one back.
turns our stomach a little. And you mentioned people who. You had mentioned people who had been there before, and of course that brings up the former owner, Norma Sutcliffe. How is your relationship with Norma? Because I know that you bought the house from her, so things were, I would assume, at least cordial as you were going through that process. How are things with her now? You can no comment it if you feel you have to.
Yeah, I was going to say probably next question.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We like Norma, but she went on the warpath on a few things.
Well, we had a conversation a few weeks ago with Kenny Biddle after his article came out, and it seems like she sold the house, she got her check, but it seems like she still feels like she owns the house.
Yeah. We never really discussed the paranormal part with her, but she knew that Corey was a paranormal investigator, and she told us she was looking for someone that would love the house as much as she did, someone that didn't want to come in and demolish it. And we promised her we wouldn't do that. And that's certainly something we promise we won't do that. That's not in our intentions whatsoever. And we love the house. We kept our word. We didn't promise her we weren't going to do anything other than that. And we didn't discuss the paranormal part with her. But she knew Corey was a paranormal investigator.
What does it matter if you promise her anyway that you wouldn't? It's your house now. You own it. It's your house to do with as you want. As long as the town doesn't have an issue with you doing it, then you, by all rights, can do whatever you want with your property. She doesn't get to dictate what goes on there after she's relinquished ownership of it.
The only person that can do that is a historical society.
And even then, it depends on what it is they're trying to say.
And there's limitations to that, too.
I'll be honest. I think a lot of her angst comes from people pushing her buttons and telling her, well, they're doing this now and they're doing that. I've, heard things and stuff like that, but I think, she was like, they're going with the history aspect of it and stuff like that. But then it came down to people just pushing her to say, well, you got to do this and you got to do that. And I think, people in her ear doing that.
So it sounds like you think she was okay with what was going on until she started taking phone calls from a Connecticut area code.
It could be. I think
yeah.
Part of it. I think in the beginning she was so angry, thinking that we were going to be like, "Oh my gosh, Bathsheba's still here. This place is overrun by Bathsheba." She really thought that we were going to make the history of this all about Bathsheba and get everything wrong. And we haven't heard anything from her since she realized that we agree with her that Bathsheba. We can't find proof that she was here.
And that's the sad thing is that these historians, which, hey, I like you just said, Kenny Biddle, Jamie Rubio. They all do awesome work, and they're awesome historians and stuff like that. And then they come out and they attack, and it's like, do you not know we have no say in what these TV shows regurgitate?
Right.
I'm like, I sat there and watched Jeff Belanger tell, Ghost Adventures basically everything, and they, well, I'm just saying, and what was repeated like on TV was different than what was given during Jeff's interview.
Yeah, I mean, but that happens all the time. Is that any
But
place that
they attack us, they don't attack the TV show.
Right, and that's what happens is you can do the best research in the world and you can present all the information the best way, but it's people are also going to look through it from the lens that they've already been given. So you could have any TV show could show up there, and say we're going to interview some people. And the investigators and the people producing the show could have all the proper research, and then you're interviewing this person who says, "Yeah," and then I saw Bathsheba Sherman walk through the house with a knife, and she was stabbing a baby. It's like, but you don't, you can't control what it is. You pre-interview them and all that stuff, but still, like people are going to have the taint of some of that because that's what's already come out in the pop culture and the mass media about the location.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, that stuff will kind of subside. I think it will. The fact is people will get worked up about something, and when they realize that getting worked up about it doesn't change anything, they'll start getting worked up about something else. I do worry a little bit for you guys, though, with the new Conjuring film coming out. Even though it has nothing to do with the house, I just know it's going to, it's going to cause you some headaches, but at the same time, hopefully it'll increase some of those bookings, too.
True. That's coming out this summer, right?
There's a new Conjuring film?
Yeah. It's called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Made me do it.
Yeah, but I think it's either coming out late summer or around Halloween time. And
great.
but thankfully it has nothing to do with your house. So
Right.
But that all the other paranormal shows I'm sure are still on their way. If anybody hasn't seen already, Ghost Adventures, Kindred Spirits visited there. Is that all of? Am I?
Well, you can go back to the original first series of Ghost Hunters. That was one of the
Right.
first few episodes.
But that
Right.
was
That was
when,
like back in 2005 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
2005, yeah.
that was when and I've gone back and I've watched that multiple times because the assumption is that, and I've even said it on the air. Norma had Ghost Hunters on the show. She obviously thought it was haunted back then when she let them come in. But I've gone back and watched it a few times, and she's very careful in the way that she presents it. She never says, I saw, I did this, I experienced this.
People
She
have
says,
said, people have
this is what
reported.
people, but she did say, my husband has seen, but she's never said that she had any experiences.
Right.
So, maybe I was beating up on her a little bit too much. But I'll get another Norma envelope in the mail. Anybody that's ever gotten one, the Norma envelope. All right, so one more time, the website is theconjuringhouse.com.
Conjuringhouse.
Yes, sir.
Theconjuringhouse.com.
Theconjuringhouse.com. And people better hurry up and start booking if they want to get in, because I'm sure with the nicer weather coming, people are going to be looking to come down there.
Yeah, I have a feeling summertime's going to book up really fast.
Are you going to put up like an evidence page where people that stay there can put up their evidence or whatever
Yeah.
their results are?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we are.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you have a nice quiet evening there tonight and you're able to relax, but
I'd like to come down for a visit.
we'll get over there at
Come
some
on
point.
down. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, anytime.
All right.
And
I'll be there next Friday.
the important thing is though, you guys have put in Wi-Fi, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, see, when Norma had the house, she wanted us to come and do an episode from there. And I kept saying, well, we
need
can't.
Wi-Fi.
You don't have good enough internet for us to do it. So maybe now we can work something out.
We have Wi-Fi, so come on over.
Excellent. All right, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
you for having us.
All right, that is Corey and Jen Heinzen, the owners of The Conjuring House, and you can go check it out for yourself at theconjuringhouse.com if you would like to go and check it out. Listen, it doesn't matter where you come down on, how you feel about the Perrin story, how you feel about what Norma said. whether or not you believe all the people that have come in there and investigated, if you think it's really as intense as they say it is, but none of that matters because now you have the opportunity to go in there and check it out for yourself. So you can go there and make up your own mind. At $125 a person, it doesn't sound like a bad price at all to pay to get that place and to be able to really investigate. And as they were saying, you get to run your own investigation.
Yeah.
It's not
They
like you're
just open
coming
the
in
doors.
and they're saying, well, you have to do this and you have to do this. Obviously you want to be respectful of the property and the fact that they live there.
Don't take anything and
No conjuring, for lack of a better term, don't conjure up any demons. But, you can get in there and you can explore and investigate the way that you want to investigate. And people always say, that what works in one location doesn't always work in another location. You might have to go in there and now try something that you've never tried before because of all these different stories that you've heard. So don't think that a place getting a reputation or having misinformation put out there, as much as we want to correct all that, it could also lead to some pretty cool activity when you're actually conducting the investigation. How many times have we run into things on investigations where we've had to dispel some of the notions that people have had? I just think of the Parson Barnard house in North Andover, where people for years thought that Thomas Barnard was one of the accusers in the witch trials and investigated that way and would get either no activity or would get negative activity. And then they come to find out that he was actually trying to exonerate the people who were accused. And now people go in with that mindset and the place is lit up with a lot more activity and positive activity. So, all right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Ladies, you can stick around if you want, but if you want to take off, I know
you
it's
also
late.
share your Instagram?
People keep asking. One more time. Give us that
It's
account.
VG_community, VG TV on Instagram, VG_community. Thank you.
And on Facebook as well. It's
Community VG.
so there you go.
So, yeah.
And people can start signing up now. I'm sure during the break they'll all start liking your page and following you on Instagram and all that. So we will take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll take some calls. I noticed that some phone calls were coming in when Corey and Jen were on the line. We welcome you to call back in 508-996-0500, 877-996-1420. Back with more Spooky South Coast in just a short bit.
News, talk, station 1420 WBSM New Bedford. Streaming worldwide on the WBSM app and on WBSM.com.
Imagine being denied an apartment because of your religion, or your race, or because you have children, or a disability.
It's so wrong.
Yes, but who has the power to stop this?
You do. Each of us has the power. The law is on your side. It's illegal for landlords to discriminate because of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, disability, or familial status. If you suspect that you have experienced housing discrimination, file a complaint with HUD immediately so we can investigate it. Fair housing is your right.
Use it.
To learn more, visit hud.gov/fairhousing. That's hud.gov/fairhousing. Or call 1-800-669-9777. 1-800-669-9777. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies!
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
WBSM.
Would you like to save or invest for your future? Save or invest for your retirement? Save for your children's education. Call Jose Matos, 508-678-3715 of Advanced Financial Group at 725 State Road in Westport, Mass. As a financial consultant since 1989, I have experience in setting up 401ks, IRAs, and annuities for a variety of my clientele.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member NASD, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Would you get on an airplane if you knew it had a 50% chance of crashing? You may be riding that plane right now. If you have your money in a 401k or IRA and you plan to take out the recommended percentage each year when you retire, your chance of running out of money is 50%. 50%. But there's a better and safer way to secure your income in retirement. Discover how in a free book called Rescue Your Retirement. This wealth building strategy has never had a losing year in more than a century. In fact, even the man who invented the 401k now prefers this method instead. Get Rescue Your Retirement free for just a small shipping charge and enjoy a safe landing and a comfortable retirement. Get this free book and make sure you don't run out of money. Hurry, this offer is extremely limited. To get your free copy, just go to growwealthsafely.com. That's growwealthsafely.com to discover how to rescue your retirement. growwealthsafely.com.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Beyond all the hospitals and doctors and surgeries they need just to survive, they also deserve whatever they need to truly live. All the in-home care and day-to-day help they need to live independently, on their own terms. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs were established to provide these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So many of them need us, and it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Find out how you can do your part at findwwp.org.
Tune in to 1420 WBSM Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. for Secrets to Living Healthy with Dr. Mark McGowan of Power of Life Chiropractic. Dr. McGowan is one of the area's top wellness coaches. Join us each week to get a better understanding of your body and how it works. You'll learn how to set your healing power free from one of the nation's top chiropractors, Dr. Mark McGowan. So please join us for Secrets to Living Healthy every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. right here on 1420 WBSM.
Sunday mornings at 8. Tune in to 1420 WBSM for financial advice you can count on as USA Wealth Group presents MoneyWise. Each week, host Ray Lance and his guests will explore topics meant to help you protect and grow your wealth, from estate planning and taxes to reverse mortgages and the gig economy. So, tune in Sunday mornings at 8 for MoneyWise. Right here on 1420 WBSM.
We were on vacation when my 4-year-old son woke up with a very high fever. We were scared and we had to find an emergency room immediately. In an unfamiliar city in the middle of the night, we had no idea where to go.
1 in 5 children will visit an emergency room this year. But did you know that some ERs are more prepared for pediatric emergencies than others? But there is help. The new Find ER Now app will quickly locate the closest ER and show which are more likely to be prepared for your child.
It was a terrifying night for us, but because we already had the Find ER Now app, my son got the care he needed. Now, no matter where I am, I always feel prepared.
Whether at home or traveling, the Find ER Now app will have your family prepared in an emergency. To learn more or to download the app, text Find ER Now, that's FINDERNOW to 51555, or go to ourbabyfoundation.org. That's the letter R, babyfoundation.org.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm gonna take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education
and to finish what I started to get my diploma.
Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You are not your diagnosis.
And vision loss does not define you.
Your drive defines you.
And we are here to let those challenged with blinding retinal diseases know
that we are driven too.
To be a beacon of strength,
a champion of courage,
an advocate for hope.
And we are stronger together.
We fund.
We fight.
We win.
We
are the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Join the fight at fightingblindness.org.
Would you like to save or invest for your future? Save or invest for your retirement? Save for your children's education? Call Jose Matos, 508-678-3715 of Advanced Financial Group at 725 State Road in Westport, Mass. As a financial consultant since 1989, I have experience in setting up 401ks, IRAs, and annuities for a variety of my clientele.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member NASD, SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Calling all
all seafood, steak, rib, and sushi lovers, Festiva Buffet has an all-you-can-eat lunch and dinner that's as delicious as it is affordable. Their amazing buffet offers so many choices, you might go into flavor overload. If you don't have time to sit, you can take your food to go. Celebrate your special occasion at Festiva in one of their party rooms and treat your guests to an all-you-can-eat extravaganza. Bring a group of friends, bring the team, or bring the family. They'll all be glad you did. Festiva Buffet in the Ocean State Job Lot Plaza in Fairhaven.
Hey, Greg, I'm so sorry to hear about your brother's heart attack.
Thanks. He's okay now, but it really got me thinking about my family. You know, could my wife still pay our mortgage if I had a heart problem? Or could my kids still go to college?
Man, that is really scary. You should call my life insurance agent at Health IQ. When I got life insurance for my family last year, they saved me 41% versus any other company I looked at.
41%? That's huge.
Yep. Health IQ starts by shopping everyone with the top 30 life insurance carriers to make sure they can get the lowest retail rate. Then they apply their exclusive Healthy Lifestyle Savings, which can save you up to 41%. I literally got $1 million in coverage for my family for just $36 a month.
Just $36 a month?
Yep. You should check it out at healthiq.com/easy.
To save that much money, I'm going to call them right now. What's that link again? healthiq.com/easy?
Yep. healthiq.com/easy.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break
because she may not be having lunch again until September?
Or a single father of 2 who works 3
part-time jobs and still can't put enough food on the table?
Or maybe a mother who cleans offices at night,
hoping to find meeting leftovers to take home to her hungry family.
Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing a job.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Spooky South Coast. Tim Weisberg here, along with science advisor Matt Moniz, and we have our special guests that are joining us tonight, Julie and Kara. We were talking off the air during the break about some different paranormal topics, and we can certainly take some of that here on the air. Now, I just want to let everybody know that tonight, the computer that we usually use for Moniz or Stephanie, or whoever's sitting over in that seat to monitor the chat room, it wasn't connecting to the Wi-Fi. Again, as Stephanie would say, Mercury retrograde. So I'm the only one that has the chat room access. So if we missed some questions happening in the first hour, I apologize. It's just the computer is off to the side, and I like to look at the people that are in the room when I talk to them. So, but also people in the room, if I turn away from you and look at the computer, don't think I'm being rude. I'm just multitasking. Sometimes people think that, we have a massive staff here to help us out with some of this stuff. We did have an intern once. We had an intern once. That was nice. It was nice having somebody that could sit in there and like live tweet and let us know if we missed anything. But yeah, we miss her.
Well, she's in school. That the whole thing was for her to get
credits for a class.
Maybe she'll come back this summer. All my interns last summer, I had 3 interns, maybe 4. They all wanted to come back, so maybe one of them will get involved in the show. We'll see. I guess that means I'm a good supervisor, right? If they want to come back, either that or it means I just didn't make them do anything.
Yeah, they got easy credit.
They're like, we got to show up and hang out at the radio station every day, and they were always bringing in food.
Yeah, food.
Yeah, we get
Spooky Snack Coast.
We get tons of food here during the day. They never leave anything for us on Saturday nights, but certainly I like this. I like what Sudan's thinking. Tim, you should go on do an investigation of the old Peggy Lawton factory in East Walpole. Nobody loves Peggy Lawton like I do. You familiar?
I've heard of it, but I can't place it.
So, do you remember when we were younger, you would go to the supermarket, the convenience store, and they always had those brownies next to the.
And it's a Lawton on it.
Yeah, that's the Peggy Lawton company that made those brownies, and one day we just happened to. That's actually how Spooky Snack Coast started.
Yeah,
that we didn't really talk about food on this show until we went on and waxed poetically about those Peggy Lawton brownies. And now snacks have become a very popular part of the show.
Swedish Fish.
Which I still have Swedish Fish candy canes in my office if you want to try one.
I like the Swedish Fish, not a fan of candy canes.
I hate candy canes, but I figured I would try it.
Are they gummy?
No, they're regular candy canes. They just taste like Swedish Fish.
What I was like.
Which is a great taste when you're eating a Swedish Fish candy. And you're chewing it and then you swallow it, but it's not a good thing to keep like sucking on it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And being like, this is not good. Although I did used to, so Swedish Fish, let's bring it back.
Okay.
We'll explain it to our guests in the studio, and maybe some of the people that are listening don't understand the Swedish Fish story. It actually came about from Jeff Belanger.
Yep.
Because Jeff is a big fan of Swedish Fish. It was actually, I think, the only candy he really liked. And so it came about that when he would go out and do library lectures, people would bring Swedish Fish to his lectures for him. And so when we started doing Legend Trips events, they would start bringing Swedish Fish to the events. And so that led to people bringing Swedish Fish for all of us. And now they will still bring it. So our friends, Len and Peggy, every time we do an investigation, they'll show up and they'll give us the big, 5-pound bag of Swedish Fish.
Well, it's not a problem because it ends up gone by the end of the night with all of the people.
Not always, because they gave me a bag one year, and when I still worked in the newsroom, and I put a whole bunch of them in a pile on the counter and took a picture and told them having a seafood dinner tonight. That's eating Swedish Fish. But that's how that got started. And then there was another group of friends of ours who come to a lot of our events that they became a paranormal group based on working together on investigations that we were doing for events and also our annual Bridgewater Triangle show. So they would go out in the field and work together, and they would always share cannolis. So they became Team Cannoli. Mm-hmm. And so now they would always bring us Team Cannolis. They would always bring us cannolis when we would have investigations. Dave came here for our anniversary, brought cannolis. And Len and Peggy came to my lecture in the Acushnet Library a couple weeks ago, and they brought me cannolis. So, we're pretty well fed.
I feel like I'm going to stop at a convenience store on the way back.
Yeah, right?
Get some Peggy Lawton brownies.
Right.
Well, they're saying in the chat room that Peggy Lawton's still in business. I just don't see them as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But it also, I'm also not the same person that I was when I was obsessed with those. Where, I was probably 22, 23 years old coming back from the Raven.
Yeah.
And, probably had a few drinks and I was like, oh, what can I grab? That's a good Oh, yeah, one of those brownies.
I miss that place.
Well, and I was mentioning earlier that's where we first met.
Yeah.
Was
that place haunted?
Yeah.
Full-blown apparition happened right in front of me and several other people.
Was he in the act of what he was doing when he died?
No, he was just walking through a door that used to be there. That's what got us all. This guy... He looked as real as you and me. I'm standing on the back porch. There's this guy that's really, really drunk standing next to me because it was a big-ass party. 2 people playing pool inside the door that the drunk and I were watching. It was a couple, a young guy and girl, and they're closest to us at the door playing pool. This guy walks around behind the pool table, none of us really paying attention until he walked over to the wall. There's a door that went to the owner's office. He went just to the left of the door and walked right through the wall, at which point the guy playing pool dropped the cue stick. His girl took several steps back. I took a step back, and the drunk said, did you see that?
Oh my God.
And all of us were like,
and
yeah.
And his name was George, right?
Yeah.
Was it George?
Yeah.
And George, in the old days, this bar,
Yep.
because it's where there used to be an airport. In the old days, this bar was a place for ladies of the night to do their business. And George was their most frequent customer. And as the legend goes, I don't know if anybody's researched it and found the actual truth.
The owner, BJ, did actually find the information, yeah.
So what happened was he died in the act.
Oh.
So he died with a smile on his face, but that's why he
Came
was there.
and went at the same time.
Because it was his favorite place. So he would always, want to stay there. So, yeah. And so that's how we met, was because I would go there and see bands, and I would be hanging out. And we hung out there because all the bikers that drank there used to come, and I worked at a diner down the street, and they would come and have breakfast all the time. So I knew them all. And if you're going to go and drink in a place, and you're a just turned 21, 22 kind of person, and you're like, I don't really know where's a good place to hang out with a good vibe, you go to a biker bar, because if they like you and they accept you, you're all
in.
set. Yeah, you don't have to worry about anybody giving you any trouble. So it was a great place to hang. Everybody was awesome there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all great. I was too stupid to know that I should have been afraid. But they were all great people, and it was awesome to hang out there. And so I'd go there to see bands, and here was this guy running the soundboard for all these bands. And then, I'm fascinated with that kind of stuff anyway. I was an AV nerd in high school, and then he would come into the restaurant for breakfast, and so I would talk to him a little bit, and we knew him as Matt the Sound Guy. And then one day, we were probably 3 months into doing Spooky South Coast, the waitress was telling him all about how, because it was March, and we started in January.
Yeah.
So the waitress was telling him all about, how we were doing this radio show about paranormal topics. And he asked, middle of a busy Saturday, he's like, have him come out here and talk to me. So I go out there, I'm like, what's going on? Like, who knows what's going on? Like, did I screw up his breakfast or something? And he looks at me and he goes, in typical Moniz fashion, people that know him now, but remember, I didn't know him that well then, looks at me and says, what do you know about the paranormal?
Ooh.
And I looked at him and I said, not a lot. That's why I want to do this radio show, because I really don't know anything, and this is a chance for me to learn. And he's like, that's the right answer. I'll help you out.
Nice.
And so he came in, I think it was that same night.
Yep.
He came in, big folder full of stuff that he'd collected over the years that he thought would make good shows. Sat down, and we used to have chairs over there before we had the couch, and he just listened into the show. And I told him, I said, if you're going to help us out and be part of this, you're gonna be part of this. And so we reluctantly dragged him in front of the microphone. You had no interest at all in being on the air. But we needed him because we're over here like asking him questions like, what? Oh, Matt says this. So we're like, we brought him in to the fold. And then, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, that was in March.
Yep.
By June,
I got him out into the field. Finally got him out.
He's telling us, you're not going to sit here and armchair quarterback the paranormal. You're going to go out there and do it for yourself.
Good job.
And so the very first investigation that he took us on, Matt Costa and I had done one before that was kind of a joke a little bit for a newspaper article, but he took us on our first kind of real investigation into a local cemetery that we won't talk about. And then we caught an EVP the first night.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So the reason why we can't talk about it is because they've asked us not to promote that it's haunted anymore because they don't want people trespassing there anymore. It's been a huge issue.
Yeah.
So if you see, that's that damn website, onlyinyourstate.com.
Oh, yeah.
They keep circulating this story about the most haunted cemetery in Massachusetts. If you see that, please do not go there. That's all I can say. They don't want you there. It's run by a private group now. They don't want you to go there and trespass. But that's what happened is we caught our first EVP.
And they were hooked.
And we were driving from that cemetery to the studio, and I'm reviewing the audio in the truck as Matt Costa is driving, and I've got my headphones on, and as I'm listening, and it was something like this. This is probably not great radio, but I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and I've got my headphones on, and then I heard the EVP. And as soon as I heard the EVP, I was like, oh, Jesus, I don't want to listen to that ever again.
Yeah.
And then I grabbed the headphones.
Rewind.
Put them back on and said, I got to hear that again.
Wow.
Awesome.
And so from that point on, I was like, okay, I get it now. I understand. But I probably wouldn't have done it if he hadn't given us that kick in the pants. So.
And now look where you are. No, seriously, you guys come along, especially you, Tim, obviously. You went from a guy that just read books about it, felt passionate about it, and now you're leading some of the biggest events dealing with it.
It all happens for a reason, you know, like we put on these events and listen, I'm not going to shy away from saying like, yeah, we make a little bit of money off of it. Not much.
We do?
Well, a little bit. I mean,
okay, we need to talk.
Hey, you're the guy that keeps telling me to donate your cut
yes,
back.
I do.
So,
I do.
Some of us aren't as.
I'm just being a wife.
Some of us aren't as well off as Moniz, and we're like, whatever little bit of money we make off of that, we have to keep.
Just because I drive a Porsche.
Listen, when people don't, because we always offer the guests like, take home the rest of the pizza. Take home the rest of the pizza. When they don't take home the rest of the pizza, I take it home, and that's what I eat for the next 3 days. So we're not really that making that much money off of these events, but we do make a little bit. So just to be upfront, but the real important part is that we make a nice, healthy donation to the location.
Yeah. That's great.
And we're giving people a chance to get into places that they couldn't normally get into, which is what it's really all about. And we talk about this every year on our anniversary show. We like to, toot our own horns on that particular night, but some of our iTunes reviewers will say we do it all the time. But we like to look at the community that we've built and say, a lot of this wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Spooky South Coast, Like if we hadn't started this, these people wouldn't have met and this group wouldn't have started and this couple wouldn't have gotten together. And it's really kind of mind-blowing. But then you also look back and you say, well, that's because it's something that's bigger than us. And we were just kind of playing the part that we had to play. We do have some people waiting on the phones as I'm tooting my horn when I say that I won't. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast.
What's shaking, Playboy?
Hey, Lamone. How's it going?
Oh, just living and loving. Just waiting to get on the air. So I remember the girls. Are those the ladies that were there like September or something like that?
No, this is their first time visiting us. They were here to film their new Instagram show. They decided that they needed to have a special guest that would make it so that nobody ever watched their show again. So they came here and interviewed me.
Oh, that sucks. Well, they're going to be very glad and lucky to have you on the program. What is it called? Instagram and a half. That's what I like to call it. But it's okay. So, I got Stephanie's not there tonight either.
No, she's out sick.
So conveniently, and so she was teased us for 2 weeks and she's gone. I wanted to. So you were talking about having like ghosts and stuff. You're talking about. I was talking about like, do they have like black people come there at the house they're talking about? The Conjuring house. I've been black, like I said, most of my life, and it's going to kind of difficult to wonder about going to a house that's haunted and see they think about me popping up. I've had places, I've gone to places that were haunted. They were like, oh, my grandfather just liked black people. So whatever you do, don't hold my hand while we're in this house. He's dead. He's a ghost.
I don't think I've ever encountered that happening. We've investigated places that have been stops on the Underground Railroad before, but I don't think I've ever encountered any kind of racial overtones to investigations.
Well, that's a good thing. That's good. It's so saying like maybe they've changed. That period of time going over to the other side. I think that might be the case. It's like I don't know about that. I think it's probably as racist over there as it is here. I'm not like right in my house. I mean, like,
you think there's racism on the other side?
Oh, yes. They said, look, there's another spook trying to come over here. I didn't tell that happened.
I don't know about that because, anybody that we've talked to, like especially mediums or people who have had near-death experiences, those people usually talk about that when you go to this other place, you realize that all the hang-ups that we have here in this plane of existence, that none of it matters. So I would like to think they become more enlightened and they wouldn't carry that over with them.
I've been to places where, like I said, about that grandpa, I've had things thrown at me just because literally I'm not coming there trying to invoke anything or trying to make anything angry, but like I just walk in. Well, and it's like me walking into Walmart.
Well, you get that from the living people too, Lamone. So
exactly, I do.
No, but it is a good point. I mean, I've never seen it happen down a racial divide, and that could be full disclosure. there's not a lot of black people that are involved in the paranormal world in this area. You know, we don't have a lot of.
Yeah, true.
I'm sorry. I mean,
not to say that there aren't. I'll call them black ghosts, but
Sure.
people of color that have
Black
passed.
ghosts. But we
Well, no,
don't-
people of color that have
Listen,
passed is what I'm trying to.
And I really don't know why it is, but you know, and you know this, Lamone. The paranormal field is predominantly white, but for some reason, so is the people that come to our events. You know, it's predominantly white. Not that we, keep track and check it out, but I'm just saying, like, we have.
It's kind of obvious when you're looking at the crowd.
And when we have regular people that come to our events all the time, and it's predominantly white. So, but I've never looked at it from a racial standpoint before, but we do see it happen from a gender standpoint, where there's certain places that we investigate where females might have been treated poorly. So they, we were talking about the S.K. Pierce mansion where they supposedly were raping women on the third floor, or the Quequechan Club.
That was just in my head.
Where they used to keep prostitutes on the top floor, the legend goes, no proof, and they would abuse them. And so we've been in these places where the spirits won't interact with the strong male personalities. They'll interact with the females, but they don't want anything to do with any male that's loud and yelling or anything like that. So I have seen it happen down gender lines, but not down racial lines. But maybe it's different in different locations.
We're also in New England. That wasn't a large concern here.
Well,
I have heard of. No, what I'm saying is that I know of a number of different hauntings that happen in the South that are very, we'll call it racially charged hauntings.
Yeah, I investigated a lot of those for haunted towns and ghost asylums where there was some of that, but I don't think we get that here. So, Lamone, anytime you want to come here and investigate, you should be okay.
I'll hold my breath. I mean, my breath.
All right. Thank you, sir.
One other thing is, like, if a person's racist in their normal life and they're like in their living life, that stuff carries over. Who you are and what you are prior to it carries on.
I mean, we say that if when you encounter a negative ghost, it's probably because if they were a jerk in life, they'd be a jerk in death. But then again, you also would think that people would stop holding on to that stuff. So maybe
but
it's
if
a matter
you realize you can't go any further because you are a jerk.
Right. Maybe it's just the spirits that we're encountering are kind of in that in-between, that they haven't reached that point of enlightenment yet, and they're still kind of hanging on to who they were.
Well, that means they're going to be stuck, because there's no way they're going to get enlightened sitting where they're at and how they're acting without some kind of outer influence and outer stimulation. And one thing, you were talking about $125 per person a night to stay at the Conjuring House?
Yes.
Now, is it like, how long is it just like overnight from 6 until 6?
They said, 6 p.m. to 8 a.m.?
Correct.
So that's a pretty good amount of time for that money.
Well, just think, you could if you came to Vegas, you'd spend $52 to go to the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum, and that's only like 20 minutes or half an hour, whatever the case is. So like I said, if I'm going to get more for the money, but I'm not trying to sleep with anything, trying to, come home with a fella. And it's like, especially if I made cheesecake, all the ghosts and spooks try to come home with me then. I make killer cheesecake from scratch. Even your lady guests that are in the studio would enjoy it. I bake my own cheesecake.
That sounds great.
My favorite.
Scrumptious.
We're gonna have to start that as a side business. Big Moan's cheesecakes.
Damn Skippy, you little hippies.
All right, Lamone, you have a great night. Thank you so much.
It costs $35 to make one cheesecake, but I make two of them about $50. So it's off the chain, off the hook.
Sounds good to me. All right, take it easy.
All right, take care. Love everybody. Love my Spooky South Coast clan friends.
Love you too.
Take a light, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, and I don't want to cry about comics or anything like that. Take a light. All right, thank you.
All right, take
Later,
it easy.
player.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Player.
All right, that is so you just had your first Lamone experience.
Ooh.
So
now I want cheesecake.
Yeah, right?
all right, let's go to our next call. And if anybody wants to call in, 508-996-0500. Good evening. You're next on Spooky South Coast.
Good evening, Tim.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going slow but sure, but we should have a definite Monday delivery.
Monday of this week. And how much is coming?
Okay, now you've got what I told you was number one. Now, when I called to claim number one, they put me in for a drawing, and I hit a grand prize on number two. So, and that was drawn February 1st. And I only have a dollar amount of $322 million.
So 300 for just that one is 322.
Yeah, but you remember the first one I told you was $400 million.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Malibu.
Before I continue, I wanted
And the
to,
Mercedes, I thought.
But there's also a Malibu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, before I continue, I wanted to shout out to the medium who's ill tonight. I hope she's doing well because my younger sister contacted the flu, and she's had that for about a week.
Yeah, there's something going around, and I don't think it's the coronavirus, but there's something going around that is laying people out.
Yeah, it's the natty ice virus.
Right. Well, this whatever it is, that's laying people out for an average of like 10 to 12 days.
Right.
Moniz had it.
Yeah, it sucked.
The HR lady here at the station had it. It was kicking her butt for the better part of a week. So yeah, whatever's going around, it's definitely it's lasting.
Okay, now you have caller ID there, right?
I do.
Okay, my last name, spell it out, but not over the air. Write it on the paper. You know my first.
No,
name.
it just comes in as the number on this one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I can go into the computer records and get it though.
Okay, because I don't know what website to go to, but I was speaking to a federal investigator out of New York the other day, and he said that my name appears as the winner of 25 sweepstakes.
Yikes.
So he put a freeze on all of them until I collect this one first.
Well, it's a brutal process, I guess. But
so anyway, what I was very intrigued with the house you were talking about on the first hour of the show.
The Conjuring House, yep.
Yeah. Now, where is that located?
It's in Harrisville, Rhode Island. So it's it's actually a
45 minutes away.
It's a village of Burrowville, which is right next to Smithfield.
It's not too far, like from Bristol, because my grandfather was brought up on a huge farm in Bristol.
I don't know if you ever went to the drive-in out there. What's it? The Rustic Drive-In? But
I'm not familiar with it. No, but I've heard of it.
It's probably about 15 minutes from the Rustic Drive-In.
Well, anyway, I can remember as very young, my grandfather took me to the farmhouse he grew up on, but there had been a fire there, and it was near the ocean. I remember was a foundation there, and I think a distant cousin that I probably have never met took over the property. Now I don't know if they still have it or if they sold it out, because a lot of those big farms sold out to condominiums.
Yeah, they've broken up a lot of the land.
So I don't know if that's still there or not.
Oh, another good landmark if you're not familiar with the area, Wright's Chicken Farm is right near there, which people like to go to Wright's Chicken Farm, and you can.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Family sit down dinner.
Quite a bit, yeah.
And then it's also not that far from one of my favorite restaurants, Tavern on the Main.
Yeah.
Which if you've never gone to
Great
that place,
food and really haunted.
Go there on a Sunday. Yeah. Great deals, but yeah, it's absolutely haunted. It used to be kind of the seat of Rhode Island government.
Yeah.
So they did all the town hall.
The place of what's famous Door Rebellion. That's where we get our bi-party system from. That's where the two-party system started.
I had no idea.
A little bit of history for you.
That house sounded like a very good investment because apparently they need a lot of work on a barn.
Yeah, so they bought the house last June. They paid a little over $400,000 for it. And,
that's a bargain.
Well, I mean, it does need a good amount of work, so they will have to put that into it.
There's a lot of land.
There is a lot of land, yep.
Yeah, see, people don't realize the land. Land can be a real bargain if you got a ton of it with the property.
They always say, invest in land. They ain't making any more.
Tell that to volcanoes.
Absolutely, but that sounds like a good investment to maybe get rid of the bats and maybe do a little reconstruction work for them, and maybe they can get that rolling maybe sooner than they want.
So Mark, I have a question for you. Do you have HBO?
No. In fact, I'm going to tell you. You know what I have for TV? I have a 1995 investment it's a piece of metal with suction cups on my window, and I get all the free TV I want.
Well,
because the cable companies don't tell you. Now we have a big tower on Porter Street for Comcast, and they have a dish on each side of it. They're drawing in because a lot of people. I'm surprised you didn't know where you do a lot of FCC work. The regulations are that every major network, television network, has to send out free signal.
Right.
So Comcast, Xfinity, or whatever, they're pulling in all that signal for free, and they're selling it to everybody.
Right. Well,
when everybody could be getting that for free.
What you're paying for when you get the basic channels from them, because some people do get the cable box that just allows for the basic channels. What you're paying for when you get that is their delivery system. So while you are getting it over the air, you have to buy the right antenna and pull in the signal the way that you want to do it. What they're giving you is they're giving you a constant signal that they're delivering, so that you are getting the same steady picture and you don't have to worry about storms or readjusting your antenna or any of that. So they're charging you for that service. They're not charging you for the over-the-air channels.
Well, to me, that's what they're doing, because my cousin lives out in Westport, and he put an aerial on his roof with a rotor that you can turn in the living room. And he gets 68 channels, and he's not a big TV bug. But he told me he gets 68 TV channels for nothing. And the furthest one away he gets is like in the border of Connecticut and New York.
So I just look at it like this.
And they have a device I saw on the Electronics Shoppers Network or whatever. They have an antenna that you can buy, you can install inside or out to your TV. And as soon as you install it, it's got like some kind of a chip in it that it'll go through every TV in your house, and you'll get it clear as a bell, and it's like $99.
Well, when you collect on the sweepstakes and you've got all that money, and it's no longer a problem, I recommend getting HBO and watching this new series called McMillions. I think you will be fascinated by it. Maybe somebody can get you a DVD copy of it or something. So the show is about the McDonald's Monopoly game that they've been running since the late 80s. And it's all about how there were these people, and it's only a couple of episodes in, so the whole story hasn't unfolded yet, but it's all about how these people that were, some of them involved with the marketing company that put on the game for McDonald's, they were stealing the game pieces. And
that would be
through a mafia guy, they were having friends of theirs claim the prizes, and he was getting a cut, and they were basically robbing this game blind with all of these set up winners, and the FBI in Jacksonville, Florida started investigating it and started unraveling it. So I think you would really enjoy watching it just based on your own circumstances. And
you were talking about the Underground Railroad. Now, I don't know if they still exist, but my church is a Pilgrim United Church of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And the church home, which is on the east side of the street, I went in there in the cellar when I was a kid because we used to store our scouting stuff in there. And from what I can gather, there's tunnels that's supposed to go from there to the waterfront.
Right. So where is that located? What street is that on?
That would be on School and Purchase Street.
Okay, so Purchase Street, it's funny that you bring that up, because I've had the opportunity to investigate Greasy Luck.
Yeah.
And
really?
In the basement of Greasy Luck, they have where there used to be tunnels. We found what we think are probably signs of tunnels. And what happened was, that they had the big meeting house there that burned down. What we think, based on some of the history that we've done, is that the Underground Railroad did go through there, and because we knew that New Bedford was very rich in abolitionist history, and so what happened was they had these tunnels that were going there, and there was a fire that happened at that meeting house. I forget the exact name of it, but and what happened was we were encountering this spirit in the basement of Greasy Luck, which they probably don't want me to keep talking about the ghost there, but and what happened was the owner's wife basically got burned on her arm, and that's how this all started. And when we went down there, Stephanie's making a connection with this spirit, and we're picking up EVPs and all kinds of stuff. And basically what we think happened is that one of the slaves was in the process of trying to use the tunnels, and when the fire broke out, got caught in this fire and perished, and is trying to warn everybody about the fire now. So it's very interesting that you know,
well,
kind of all ties
I'm
together.
not sure if they exist, but I think there was from that the church home in the basement. I think though there's the tunnels. I think they still go to the waterfront.
Yeah, there's tunnels all down there. I'm supposed to get the chance to go into some of the ones that are still that you can still actually go in there. So I'll let you know when that happens. We'll do a story about it here at WBSM, and we'll let you know when we get in there.
Because there's a lot I'd like to know about Frederick Douglass, because I've only recently found out about the history of him, and he was one of the biggest icons of the city.
So tune in to Town Square Sunday. I think it ran last week. There was but I'm sure they'll rerun it again in the coming weeks. Lee Blake from the Historical Society is working on trying to get a new park and more history out there about the abolitionists and about Frederick Douglass.
That'll be a lot of spookiness for you to investigate too. That
absolutely. Trying to. All right. Well, thank you for the call, and keep us up to date with everything.
Oh, hopefully we'll celebrate all week.
All right. I'll be looking for the Malibu out in the parking lot.
I'll DJ.
Okay.
Take it easy.
We'll be talking, Tim.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this area is it does have such rich history, and so much of that rich history has paranormal connections to it too. So, you know, I mean, I've talked with Lee over at the Historical Society, and she's talked to us about some of the stories people have told over the years. And, you know, we kind of want to get into some of these places and be able to not only explore the paranormal, but help them raise some money off of it too. You know, you're familiar with Wareham and the Fearing Tavern in Wareham. Mm-hmm. You know, we investigate there, you know, with the first people that ever investigated. We're the only ones they really let in now. Yeah. But they now get a good check from us every year as part of their, you know, annual fundraising, because people want to come and check that place out. And if you Google Fearing Tavern, before you get to any of the history, you're getting to all the paranormal stuff now.
Oh, wow.
Which, you know, when you can keep a place going and keep them be able to, and we used to always, when we would do these events, we'd make it a point to say to them, we're going to give you a check for $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000. What are you going to use that money for? And they'd be like, well, you know, we need. I was like, no, tell us exactly, so that when we go out there and tell the group, they'll know what they did.
Yeah.
We put in the
People
floor.
like to know.
They redid the floorboards in front of the front door of the Fearing Tavern.
Oh, that's great.
Replaced the, you know, that 300 and something year old wood. And or 200 something, because it was the 1700 section. They replaced that wood with, you know, money that, and when they did it, they have to use, you know, historically accurate.
Yeah.
And then they're very lucky that the president of the Historical Society, her husband is in construction, but he's certified to work on historical properties. Wow. So they can save some money by utilizing him, but at the same time, they still have to follow all these regulations.
We kept, like, the Military History Museum in New Bedford. We paid for their heat for the entire winter.
Yeah, they used to have to close in the winter because they couldn't afford the heating bill. And we would do the events there in October.
Yep.
And so we said, like, what are you going to use the check for? And like, well, this is going to allow us to pay the heating bill so we can have volunteers here every day all through the winter.
Right.
So people get to come in. And then, you know, the city solicitor shut that down because of the dangerousness of Battery Milliken and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm still bitter. I'm still shell shocked a little bit from when I got reamed out in a park board meeting about why we had never gone to the park board before to get permission. Oh no, this guy set it all up. I don't know. But so hopefully someday we can get back into that again, because it's fascinating local history that people don't know about. People know that the fort is there. They have no idea what it's all about. Mm-hmm. They have no idea that it was built in the time of the Civil War, or started during the time of the Civil War.
Designed by Robert E. Lee.
Oh my goodness.
And they have no idea that, you know, Robert's Rules of Order that we use in all of our, you know, community meetings, that's where they were created.
Yeah.
You know, so all of this history that's tied into there, people don't know.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, the fact that we were researching the show, just this whole element of history, you know, not just the paranormal, but the history behind everything.
Didn't think of it before.
You know, it's just so fascinating.
You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have the history as part of it, because that, first of all, tells you can't go into an investigation and have a whole bunch of stuff happen if you don't know how that's going to tie in.
Yeah.
And you need to kind of know, I know some psychics, they don't want to know going in, but whatever. But somebody needs to know the history and say, well, that makes sense. Let's go down this path, which is why when we do these investigations, we always have somebody from the Historical Society with us that can kind of help us out in that regard.
Right. And what is the tagline for what we do?
Come for the ghost, stay for the history.
Yeah.
I like that.
But that's the key part about this is, you see 15, 16, 17-year-old kids coming to our events to look for ghosts, learning the history of these places, when if they went there on a school field trip, they'd be bored out of their minds.
Yeah.
But even now, they bring the 5th grade kids over to the Fearing Tavern, and they'll talk about the fact that there's ghosts in the place. So that it makes a difference. Whereas now the kids are like, "What? Wait,
Hello? Well.
hold on." So it does make a difference, and I think that there's a good generation of people coming up that appreciate history. I just don't know if they're going to do enough to keep it going. So they're interested in it. They want to learn about it, but are they going to take the time to join the Historical Society and to keep doing the work that they do? Salem is lucky that they have a great group of young people that are involved, but there's a lot of inner politics too, but they have a great group of younger people that care about preserving the history of the town. But we don't see that in our own towns around here,
Yeah, I have to say, I have children who are 12 and 9, and we've gotten involved in our local community with a local historical society. And it's been great. It's been great for the kids to learn. And, my daughter, has been involved in participating in this old schoolhouse. And they do reenactments and stuff, and it's great for them. They're learning history and having fun at the same time.
Hold on. So, based on what you said earlier about where you live in the area where you're from, is it the Hornbein School?
No.
So no, I'm in Lincoln, Rhode Island.
Okay.
So it's Hearthside House.
Yeah. So go to the Hornbein School though. When you're going out looking for the red-headed hitchhiker.
Oh,
go
yes.
by there as
it's
well.
Right down, down the road.
I'm so creeped out about this because Julie said I have to drive past this.
The story
Rehoboth,
goes,
right? Rehoboth.
Yeah, the story goes, if you go to the schoolhouse and look in the windows, you'll see a class.
Really?
Go home that way tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. In the light. In the light.
So, yeah, when you encounter the red-headed hitchhiker, you can thank me for that.
Great.
You can say, he's the one that told me to pull over and pick him up.
Oh, God.
Make sure to honk your horn and flash your lights.
Okay, there's a ritual.
Yeah, that's the folklore.
Okay.
But
yeah, and also there's that other cemetery has a story, too, where if you do the same thing, the spirit will come up behind. But I'll tell you that off there because I don't want to keep telling their legends and having them get upset. Well, we're just about out of time. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I also want to congratulate Eric, who last week I had mentioned this on Spooky that we were carrying over the Twin Peaks contest from Midnight in the Desert because we wanted to give people a chance to win. Eric actually won that. So he's going to get 2 tickets to go to Graceland to see the Twin Peaks 30 convention happening in April. And I know that the question has come up in the chat room. T-Rex was asking. As of right now, I'm not going to be there. But we are still in discussions with them to see if they need me to come in to do anything. Because I said, hey, any panels that you want me to moderate or anything like that? Or I'd love to get up and give a presentation on the paranormal side of Twin Peaks. But we're waiting to see if anything happens with that. So as of right now, there's no plans for me to be there. But damn, we will definitely do. Now that we've built this relationship between Midnight in the Desert and Graceland, we will definitely be planning something down the line because they love the show. And they love the idea of us working together. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself,
Graceland?
Yeah. I think we could pull something together there. So we should be able to work something out there. But I don't know if I'll be there for Twin Peaks 30. And just a reminder for everybody, I try not to cross-pollinate the shows too much, but if you have not yet become a subscriber to Midnight in the Desert, please do. It's just $5 a month, $4.99 a month. You get access to all the archives. You can listen to all the great episodes that we do. I know a lot of you listen to Spooky South Coast because, it's something that you listen to during your workday. You might not be able to listen to it live on a Saturday night, but it's something that you can listen to, on Monday when you get to work, when you're supposed to be actually doing your job, and instead you're listening to a podcast. And if that's the case, Midnight in the Desert gives you that opportunity with 5 shows a week.
Good to listen to on the ride into work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. It's great discussion about weird things in a long-form style that you just can't find anymore. So I highly recommend that everybody that's into this show, check it out. And if you're not sure if you want to spend the money to subscribe, just go to anywhere you get podcasts, anywhere you get the Spooky South Coast podcast, and search for the Midnight in the Desert Hour. And what that does is it gives you 1 free hour of every night's show, so you can listen to it and check it out. All right, well, that is going to do it for tonight. If you want to reach out to us at any point during the week, Tim at SpookySouthCoast.com, SpookyCrew at SpookySouthCoast.com. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, all that. One more time, quick, give out the Instagram.
VGTV. We are from VGTV. Find us on Instagram.
There you go. And absolutely, you want to make sure that you follow them and help them out and spread the word around, help them spread the word about the show.
Thanks, Tim.
And we will also continue to keep an eye on the things that they're doing. And as they bring you really cool, different guests, maybe we'll have you come back in and talk more about it.
Sounds great.
All right. So we will be back next week, right? That's the 20. Yeah, we will be back next week. There won't be a show the week after that because I got asked to be at the Oliver House that night. But we'll return next Saturday night where we'll talk more about the world of the paranormal. Until then, for Matt, for Stephanie, for Kara, for Julie, I'm Tim. Stay spooktacular.
New Bedford's News Talk Station 1420 WBSM New Bedford, streaming worldwide on the WBSM app and on WBSM.com.